I was in the office the day of delivery, 3 weeks before, around 3 weeks before my due date. I was seated in my office, and then a friend comes in, and she started talking to me. As we were talking, I laughed. She told me something that made me to laugh. Then I broke the waters in the office. So water was everywhere, was on the floor. So she looked for a mop and mopped the place, closed the door, and then mopped the place. Hello, my friends. This is Health Now Show, your health friend with me, Jane Kariuki. When we think about delivery of our babies, we know anything can happen, and some things have happened. What I've looked at and I've seen in my life as a mother is that sometimes families struggle a lot before delivery, during and after delivery of the babies. We know babies are a gift from God. And even the Bible says in Deuteronomy 28 that the fruit of our womb is blessed. And some people struggle to get that fruit. Others, it just kind of comes naturally, and you find yourself, you're pregnant, and then you deliver the baby very smoothly. But it's not that way for everyone. Some struggle a lot. Some have no information of what is happening in their lives. And that means some things may go wrong. In this episode, I am discussing my own journey so that we can also see how some of the things that we wish way before we start having the idea of having a baby, how they can influence the delivery of the babies. And I have thought that I start a series of many experiences from different families, different people, different mothers and fathers to come and share their journeys so that you, my viewer, can learn one or two things. And when you are planning to get a baby, or when you are already pregnant as a family, because it is the whole family that becomes pregnant, though it is one person who carries the pregnancy, you can know what to do or what not to do. And that is why I thought it is very important that I share mine and then invite you to share yours. If you would like to be hosted by me on this show, we will give you our number that you run on the screen so that you can reach out and get to have an opportunity to come and share yours. In this series that I'm planning to have, that I'm inviting you to, I'll also invite professionals, gynecologists, I'll bring general doctors, I'll bring pediatricians to come and talk about the babies after delivery, and other professionals that will be appropriate and relevant to what I'm talking about this series. And I believe, my viewer, my community, you're going to learn something. So where does mine start? As I have shared in my previous shows, I've talked about growing up in a domestic family, domestic violence home. And I shared that I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have a family. And as I said, I wanted to become a Catholic nun for the wrong reasons. I wasn't a Catholic, and I just wanted to become a Catholic nun so that I don't get married and I respect the Catholic nuns that are watching and every other person who is a Catholic. I just wanted kind of something that was telling me I'll run away from having a family because of the domestic violence that I was seeing when I was growing up. I've shared that in my previous shows, and you can be able to get into my YouTube channel and get to listen. If you haven't listened, you listened the first time, you can listen as many times that you'd like to. So in that journey that I didn't want to get married, that means as far as I was concerned, I would not get children. And then I went on with my life, and I'm like, I will not get children because I will not get married because of my past. But as I grew up and I went to school, I went to the University of Nairobi, and when I was there, I had friends. I had 4 friends, okay, 3 and myself, we were 4. And then these friends, it was kind of a custom, a culture, that when you are in your second year, you had to get a boyfriend or get engaged. Because I was a Christian, and, you know, we are looking at ourselves and saying we want to get married the right way. And then, so at that point, these 3 friends of mine, you know, we were praying and talking about getting engaged and also wanting to fit in the culture of you have to get a boyfriend or you have to get engaged when you are in your second year. Because we were saying, when you get out of college, you will not get anyone because people will say, huyo amefanya mambo mingi. So that was what was there. So it was giving us a lot of pressure so that we also get engaged or to get somebody in our lives. So these 3 ladies, we decided to pray. And the 3 of them had come from Pentecostal churches. But for me, I'd come from these denominational churches. That is where I was growing up. So the issue of prayer and fasting was not about me. I didn't know that. The other thing, I was not, you know, filled with the Holy Spirit. So I wasn't able to speak in tongues and all that. But these 3 were coming from Pentecostal churches. They knew how to fast. They knew how to, you know, to pray. And then I am their friend. So I started now working with them. This one time, now because we want to fit in, we decided to pray. And you remember me, I had said I don't want to get a child. I don't want to get a family. But there was still something in my heart. As I was growing up, my auntie did not have a child. She was, you know, she was struggling to conceive, but finally she never got a child. So because they are only born 2 with my mom, she was saying all the time that I am one of her children, but she never got any baby. So I would stay with her during school holidays and then go back home. At some point in my growing up, because I've come from a very humble beginning, very, you know, low, poor family background, my mom had given me to her so that she can be relieved of this issue of the financial support of these other children. So at some point I was supposed to go and stay with her in Nairobi from Nyeri, where I'm born and brought up. But something happened. The day she came to pick me home, my mom made some porridge. And this porridge is white porridge with no milk, with nothing else, but just boiled, no sugar. It was, for those people who know that porridge, it is called hoga, without anything else. So I don't know what happened. My auntie has come all the way to pick me so that I can go and be living with her. So my mom prepared the only food that she had. That was the porridge. And then we we were to take the porridge before we went. But when I was given the porridge, imagine, I said, I'm not going to take the porridge before I'm given a 10 cent. That time, a 10 cent was a lot of money. It was being called kingotore. It had a hole in the middle. So that 10 cents, I said, I'm not going to take the porridge before I'm given a 10 cent. By who? By the visitor who came. You know, she was bright and nice and looking very nice, living in the city. So I think I just felt in my mind that I needed to be given some money. So I said, I will not take this porridge, the only food we had, mind you, without this 10 cent. Then my aunt said, if she's not going to take the porridge because she doesn't have the 10 cent, then I'm not going to go with her. Imagine, I missed out on going to the city because I refused to take the porridge. Because she said, if this is how she'll be asking, she'll be saying, if I feed her, she'll say, I can't do this before I'm given this, then I'm not able to. I was left in the village. I stayed there in the village. So this time when we are even thinking about the prayer and thinking about getting married and probably having a family and having children, I had that nagging issue in me that my auntie did not have a child. And since I'm named after her, I was telling myself, even me, I will never get a child. Why? Because I'm named after her. That was my thinking. Because it doesn't go like that. You know, infertility is not transmittable. And this, we can all attest to that. So, but for me, as I was growing up, because of the struggles I saw with her, that she didn't have a child, like now she was to be given me, and you know, the struggle that she's not having a baby. I was like, I will be like her. So there was something in me telling me that if I will ever get a child, if I will ever get married, remember I'm mixing these two stories because they are related. If I will ever get married, my first assignment will be to get a baby because of the struggles I was seeing with my auntie. So this time when we are praying, in now the university, we are praying for this, for the husbands. So we set up to pray and fast. So we fasted and prayed for 3 days, dry fast. We were going to Ufugamano House. That is where there was a powerhouse, the topmost room. That is where there was a prayer room. So we would go there at around 11 when everybody else has gone to sleep, because we wanted to pray, you know, shouting and speaking in words, words that can come out, and we were praying for husbands. And we didn't want other people to hear that we are praying for husband. This time I've been now brought into this idea of like, even me, I can get married, as much as I had said before that I don't want to get married. So this one night, we don't have any idea of who is going to marry us or anybody who's going to become our friend, because we are in second year and nobody has ever come to ask us anything or even noticed us. We were never noticed. So these 3 ladies, we decided we are going to pray. But one decided she wasn't ready at that time. So she didn't join the group of the three of us, because we were 3 friends and myself. So one of them said she wasn't ready at that particular time. So she didn't join the 3 of us in prayer. So we would pray and you know, agree at the end of it, you know, we join hands and agree. So one of the prayers that we prayed was that, may God stir these brothers wherever they are, so that they come now and propose to us and notice us and like us and love us and marry us at the end of the day. So we prayed that and believed it and all that, that stir them, stir them, stir them. God is faithful. He actually stirred them. For the two ladies, for the two friends, he stirred one. But for me, 3 were stirred. So it was now my kibarua to know who it is. I went back later on now after we had done the 3 days and we are moving like that. So for me, it was now getting to know who exactly it is. But I'll come to that later. The second prayer was, when we get these brothers, when we get these husbands, we will have children, but our children will be like the Hebrew women. Remember, we are born again, we are Christians, we are believing God for these miracles of husbands and children. So we said we would want to have our babies without labor. We will not labor, we will not have labor pains. We will be like the Hebrew women. The Hebrew women, just a reminder, were said to be delivering very fast. That when the midwife is coming, the mother has already given birth, and it was said that they didn't have the labor, so it was very fast. The baby was coming very fast. So the 3 of us, we said, in prayer, we will not labor. We will get our children like the Hebrew women. Please note that. So we went on, and then we got married after we completed school in 1990. Then the 3 of us got married in 1992. But before that now, remember, for me, it was stirred 3 people. So I went back. Now this time I had learned how to pray and to fast. So I fasted 1 more day. I went to Arboretum. It was near Nairobi University. So I went there and spent the whole day fasting and asking God who it is, who it is, who it is. And then now the kibarua was, again, how do I tell the 2 that I'm not going to accept them? Because I had already now seen, God had convinced me in my heart, this is the particular person. And I thank God we are married up to today. So I now was convinced this is the right person for me. And then we started. So the next kibarua was now telling them. But I organized. I was able to take them out for a milkshake. And then I would tell them, this is what I feel in my heart. That you and me will not make a family or have a family. And that was it. Of course, they felt bad because they really felt that they wanted me in their lives. Then, so we went on, and then, as I have said, we all got married. One got married 1992 in April. Then the 2 of us in August. So the first one for us, we got 1 week earlier, but in the month of August, and then the other ones after. So the 3 of us, we got married, and 2 of us were staying in Kiambu, where I'm still staying up to today, and the other one was staying in Gong. So we continued on like that. Then we started having our babies. Remember, we said we'll be like the Hebrew women. So my turn came. So after I've gotten married, my assignment, you remember, is to get a baby as fast as possible. So immediately after getting married, probably after honeymoon, I conceived and I became pregnant. My first 3 months, morning sickness was terrible, was terrible. Vomiting, throwing up, everything. I would eat, throw up, eat again, throw up. So that at least I was retaining something, but I was very, very thin. I should say slim or thin, very thin. At some point, after 3 months, I was 45 kgs. So I was very small. But as we went on, I went gaining until by the time I delivered, I was 56 kgs. That was really awesome. But I was advised on what to take, what to eat, and even if I am, throwing up, I would still be told you can eat. And then when now I started, after the 3 months, and I started now eating and retaining, I loved ugali very much. So I would do ugali with spinach and liver. And my spinach and liver are not going to be fried. They are going to just be steamed. So I'll do the ugali, place it in, you can see I'm salivating. I love ugali today. I would put it in a pan and then cover it. The ugali is ready. Then on the side, I have my greens, my spinach, and then I have liver. It's not fried. So I just put it there and put very little fire. So it would just iva tu vizuri. Then I would eat alone. We had a house girl, my husband, but I'm not giving them. A quarter of liver, peke yangu. I started eating, and of course I started gaining some weight because I'm eating the liver. As I was growing up, in, the pregnancy, as it progressed on, like 6 months, 7 months, hey, another craving came. Masala chips and fish. That time, I was working in Kiambu, but I would go to Nairobi because there are things that I would like. Let's say I'm going to the office, our head office, or some other things that I'm doing in Nairobi, and I would make sure I've taken masala chips. And fish with ugali, I would also go to Parliament building. That time, the cafeteria that was there, or the hotel that was there, it was open to people who, if you afford, you just get in, buy the food and eat. Not like today. But that time, I could eat fish from there with my ugali. If I don't eat fish that day, the other day that I will come, if that was not, if I don't eat fish today, I'll eat masala. So I was alternating the two, and I grew on, and until the time of delivery. How did it come about for the first baby? I am going on with my antenatal clinics. I'm being observed, examined, and all that. But in the first trimester, when I was throwing up, I was also having a lot of pain in my lower abdomen. So when I told my health providers that I'm having a lot of pain, the whole of the lower abdomen, and the back, they did an ultrasound, and then they wanted to know what is happening. So they told me that the baby is intrauterine. So that means was placed properly. I said it's okay. So that is the word they used, intrauterine. So I said that is fine for me. If they find it's okay, it is okay. So I continued on. So before now I came to deliver, because I went through my antenatal clinics. As I was going on, they were examining me every time I go for the antenatal, and they would say, your baby is presenting as a breech baby. A breech baby is having the feet first. And this is a firstborn child. So we went on like that. Every time they're telling me, your baby has not turned, even when you are just about to give birth. My mom came to visit us 10 days before I was supposed to deliver, my due date. And she looked at me and just asked me, how long are you remaining? How many weeks are you remaining so that you deliver? I told her, I'm remaining 10 days. Then she told me, that stomach is too high for a baby who is supposed to be born in 10 days' time. Then did I know anything? No. So for me, and no, as I was now going for the antenatal clinics, the nurses were telling me, you might go through a CS. You must go through operation. Remember, we said we'll give birth to these babies, like the Hebrew women, without labor, and very fast, normally. Without labor, normally, very fast. So my mom is telling me like that. And the health providers are also telling me it might be a CS, it might be a cesarean section. Okay, but that one, I'm just pushing it at the back of my mind because I'm telling myself, for me, I'm the Hebrew woman. I'm the Hebrew woman. Higher. So now one day I came from work and I started spotting, started bleeding. Then my bishop was informed by my husband, and then I was taken to hospital. Okay, when he heard that I'm spotting, I'm bleeding, the speed, he went very fast and took me to hospital. When I got into hospital, then I started, I was examined, and I was told, since it's a breech baby, we are going to do an operation. I said no. I said, in my heart, I'm telling myself, for me to give birth, I'm giving normally, and I'm giving like the Hebrew women. You remember that kind of an agreement that we agreed, the three of us. And then yeah. So the doctors, the nurses were talking to me and telling me, no, Jane, this is your firstborn baby. You can't deliver. If it is a breech presentation, it is difficult to deliver this baby. So the way we are seeing it is appropriate, it is necessary that you go through a cesarean section. In me, I'm telling myself no and no. So I was in a ward with other ladies who are coming. So some of them would come today and deliver immediately. Others are there, they are being induced. I told the doctors and the nurses who are seeing us, I want to be induced. I want my baby like these others. I want to be induced so that I also get, my baby. I would hear people crying, screaming, calling their mom. I said I also wanted to call my mom and also scream, I want my baby now. And that time, my husband would come to visit, visiting hours in the hospital, and pray, because I had told him, we are delivering normally, and we are delivering like the Hebrew women. So he would come and pace up and down in the hospital, praying and believing that we are going to get this baby normally. So I'm stubborn. I'm insisting to the nurses that I want my baby normally. And then they insisted, no, you can't. So I stayed in the hospital for a week. So that was a Monday. I stayed until, the weekend. So my husband came to see me on Sunday of that week. Then we sat outside on the grass. We were talking and now believing God. Yes, I've been there. So at that point, that week, the surgeon was sent to me and was told, because I had been told I need to be taken for a CS, and for me I said no. So a surgeon was sent to me, and he talked to me. He tried to convince me, told me that you can't deliver the way we have examined you. You can't deliver, and you are still spotty. So they said I sign that I've refused to be operated on, to go for a CS. Imagine my view, I refused still. I said, even that one I'm not going to sign. That is stubbornness. And please don't do that like me. Because the outcome can become compromised. The baby and the mother may die, both of them, or either the baby or the mother, or both. So please don't do like me. But I am sharing this because I really felt bad when I realized that the stubbornness could have caused a negative outcome on my baby. So I refused again now to sign. When now my husband came, we talked and we agreed still we are studying on. And nimemwambia, I am supposed to sign that I've refused. And I refused. So that Sunday ended. The following day on Monday, we were being examined every day. So I was called to the labor ward and I was told that your baby is distressed. That time, I was started, as I'm bleeding, I'm also like I'm doing some like water is coming out, what they were calling meconium stain. So I'm still having that water and sometimes I'm spotting. So they called me and told me, your baby is distressed. Then they said, this is an emergency. We can't hear the fetal heart. And it's an emergency. They called theater. They said, this is an emergency. Remember, I have said I'm not signing. They called theater. It's an emergency. We are bringing a patient. And the hospital is a Catholic hospital, mission hospital. So the sisters who are there with me, they knew me because of where I was working, because we had created a relationship with them because of the place where I was working. So they said, before we take her to theater, we pray for her. So I was prayed for. Yeah, the sisters, some of them were Catholics, some of them were not Catholics. And then so they prayed for me, they held my hand and then just prayed for me as I'm being prepared. Then I was rushed to the theater. And then there at the theater, at the door, I signed the paper. And I was saying, probably even if I didn't sign, the doctors know better. They would still have done it somehow because they care. They care about life. They want to care about me. My stubbornness, my ignorance of the outcome would not prevent them from saving a life and saving lives. And I look back today, I tell myself, thank God that they insisted. Whether it was a trick they did or whatever they did it for my good and for my baby. So my viewer, as you are watching me, if you're there, and probably you have said, this is it, I'll deliver this way. Because for me, I was studying on what we had said, that mind you, I didn't labor. I didn't have any labor. So that is one. You know, God kept his side of the covenant, his side of the bargain, his side of agreement. But the other part that never came to me and never came to us was that even cesarean section is a way of getting a baby. The gift can either come through the normal delivery or the gift can still be delivered through cesarean section or other ways. But for me, it was only one way. It was this way or this way. There was no two other way. And that is where, again, I say, sometimes we get stuck because we just are fixed on one way. But, you know, God knows that he wants to bless us. He wants to give us this baby. So whichever way he uses, I would say, let's allow. But I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, that let him allow him to use the way he uses. Because the labor is not there, but the baby will be born. So whichever way. So if the labor is there, allow God to use that way, or the normal way, or if it's cesarean, allow it to be that way. Because his intention is to bless you with a baby and a good outcome of the baby. All right. So I am taken to theater very fast, immediately, like an emergency, and then I'm done an epidural. I'm nabbed halfway, down, and then I'm facing up. and then the lights are there, and I am being operated on. So I could, there was a curtain put here, a green one, in front of me. So I'm not seeing what is being done on my tummy, but I can hear them talking. So at some point I heard them say, remove the baby now. I guess there was a student that was being trained or something like that, but they said, that's enough for the baby, remove the baby now. Then I heard my baby cry. Then after that, they took the baby and placed the baby on a table. And then asked me, because it is half, so I'm still talking to them and they're talking to me. So they asked me, is it a boy or a girl? I told them it's a girl. So, and then even before that, when we were, married and we are talking with my husband, when we were doing premarital counseling, I was asked by the pastor, how many children do you want to get? I said 3. Then he said 1. So this time, when now I have given birth to 1, see, yeye ametosheka. But for me, in my mind now, I'm saying, I want 3. So this day, I'm saying, I'm shown it's a baby girl. And I said, okay, I'm happy. So the baby was prepared and then taken to the newborn unit for the babies. And then I was taken to the surgical ward after I've come from the theater. That is Monday. I was taken around 11. So around 1, when visitors are coming to see me, to see their patients there, my husband comes and find in the surgical ward. Of course, I'm still drowsy like that because of the medicine, the medication, and then, but I would still talk. So he came and bent over the bed, and when he came and bent over, of course he had known now we have a baby girl. He had talked to the nurses. Then I asked him, do you still love me? Because he, for me, I was telling myself, I failed him. I failed him, the prayers that he was praying and the believing that we believed. Because so for me now, I accepted to be operated on, and I asked him whether he still loved me. He just told me, yes, I still love you. And that was it. And then I continued on. I stayed for 8 days after delivery. The stitches were removed. That time I think they were doing, those stitches that had to be removed. I don't know what happens these days. And then I was done this vertical one that time. So I was operated on, the vertical one. And that is it. I got well. And then our bishop came and picked me with my husband from the hospital, drove me pole, slowly by slowly until we got to our home. And then the wife had also gone through those operations, and then so they were advising us, this is how you need to eat, this is what you need to eat, and then we went on. So our baby is born and I'm breastfeeding, and okay, I was not a very good feeder, but I would still eat, and then I would get, milk for the baby. And then after we went on, we didn't have the advice that we have these days, exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. No. As we went along, like around 3-4 months, we started giving pumpkins. You mash pumpkins and then you give the baby. But these days, we are advised differently. And I would say, let's follow the advice of the doctors. Because I always say, what the doctor is telling you, it is for your welfare. And they want good for you. So we are there, we are breastfeeding, I'm breastfeeding the baby. One day, I am sleeping during the day. And I'm sleeping with the baby on my side. I'm breastfeeding the baby. So I'm lying on the bed, the baby is here, I'm breastfeeding. So I was overtaken by sleep, nikalala. Then and the baby is breastfeeding, then I just got up. Looking at my baby, I saw white things coming from her nostrils. What is that? The milk. She breastfed. I don't know what happened, whether she overfed, then the milk was coming out through the nose. Why? It's not a laughing matter. So I took the baby, I put her upside down, because that is what I thought that would help, instead of probably making her to stand like this, so that probably the milk would have gone. But for me, I muinamisha like this. And then I screamed, I came out of the bed, and then I lifted again the baby up, and then the milk stopped coming from her nostrils. It was a bad experience. And then remember, the epidural was also another, a very traumatic thing for me, because those lights, and I'm hearing people talking when they're operating on me, when they're doing the cesarean section. It was really something that, and this is something that I didn't want. I have broken the covenant. I am getting this baby not the way that I wanted. So that is done. So in my mind, now this is so I said, never again will I sleep breastfeeding the baby. I learned that. And I'm saying, when we have the pediatrician, he or she is going to advise us on how to handle the baby when we go home, because I didn't know what to do. That's my first baby. So if I'm sleeping, I breastfeed, and the baby, and I'm lying on the bed. So from that day, I stopped breastfeeding my baby when lying down. And then my baby grew up. She was 3.5, a big baby, beautiful, beautiful girl. Then she grew. She was okay. She continued on. Now, as I went on like that, remember, my husband wanted one baby, but me, I want two babies. But as we went along, I was not taking any contraceptive. So as I went on, I realized again, I am pregnant. This baby is barely a year. So I now, and I'm going to work. I am telling myself, people will think of me like I am only thinking about getting babies. Because for me, the first one is what fulfilled what I had said. I want to get a baby immediately. That's my first assignment. But the second one caught me by a bit of surprise. So I'm pregnant again. I'm going to work. So I used to wear skirts that like they have elastic, so that you don't really see. You think that I'm still having that tummy of the baby after, that baby fat, baby weight, that you think that I'm still having that baby weight. But I was pregnant. So I continued on. And then I'm expectant. Now my husband was like, if you get a baby girl, as Kikuyus, if you get a baby girl, name the baby girl to your mom. If you get a baby boy, still name your dad. I have no problem, so that we'll have only two babies. Because I was like, yeah, one baby is not enough. One baby needs somebody, needs a friend, either a brother or a sister. So when I'm now expectant, he's telling me, if you get a boy, kwenu. If you get a girl, kwenu. And then I went on. So this other one was not now the breech like the first one. The second one was transverse. She was across. So she never turned head down or feet down. She was across. And as I was going to the antenatal, they were telling me again, the baby is not turning. The doctors will tell us what the issues are, the transverse and the causes of those two presentations. So I was being told, prepared like that. Again, in my mind, I'm telling myself, this one because I struggled and I insisted and I was stubborn to go to theatre, the second one, I don't want to disturb anybody. If the doctors will tell me I'll go to theatre, I will walk there. I will go there. So when now it came to the time of delivery, I was in the office the day of delivery, 3 weeks before, around 3 weeks before my due date. I was seated in my office, and then a friend comes in and she started talking to me. As we were talking, I laughed. She told me something that made me to laugh. Then I broke the waters in the office. So water was everywhere, was on the floor. So she looked for a mop and mopped the place, closed the door, and then mopped the place. There was a bucket. So she mopped the place. And of course, she was doing this is like what has happened. She was a girl also. She had not given birth to a baby. So she was, in fact, I look back and see she really tried. This is somebody who has broken waters and she's never had a baby. She doesn't know what goes on, but she's here to support. So it was around 11 in the morning. And then after that, I said, wacha niende hospitali. So I woke up, and then she went where she was going. Instead of going straight to the hospital, of course, I didn't have my cards. I didn't have anything in the hospital because I'm remaining about 3 weeks or so. So I walked to the nearest supermarket that we had. I bought some vests for the child and some other things that I would need. And then that time, my husband was working in the church. She was working there. She was ministering there. So I went to the church. But that day she was not there. She had gone to Nairobi. So I went there and I asked the dean in the Bible school, in the office. I asked her whether she had seen my husband. She told me no. Then in the compound was the bishop and another pastor. So they were there. So they greeted me. Yeah, Mama Jerry, how are you? I said fine. Then the other pastor was a medical person. So he asked me, where do you want us to take you? Can we take you to hospital? I said no. Remember, I have broken waters, but I'm going through other places. Again, ignorance. Because when you break waters, you need to go to the hospital as fast as you can. So I'm there, and then I told them, nitajipeleka, I will go. They have a car there, but I said, nitajipeleka. And then I walked up, pole pole, with my big stomach. I walked up, and then I went to the bus stop. I took a matatu, and I was kept near the road near our house. I got into the house. When I got there, the previous day I'd prepared mokimo. Mokimo is potatoes, beans, maize, and greens, that mashed in the food. And then meat. I had some fried meat. So when I got into the house, it is around 1 apple. I'm looking at the kamukimo and I want to eat. Then another idea told me, because you have been told the baby is transverse and you might go to theatre, I told myself, probably if I take the food and then I go to theatre, it's not a good thing. So I didn't take the kamukimo, but I was feeling, no, I have deni, hiyo ni deni. I feel that I'm leaving this kamukimo, but I didn't eat the kamukimo. Foolish me, again. Instead of now taking a vehicle, I walked down, like 15 minutes distance. I went back to the church. I asked whether he had come. Now with my card, I have my things I've prepared. Now I am good to go to the hospital. I went back to the church. And then when the bishop looked at me, just told me, I'll take you to hospital. I said, no, it is okay. I'm fine. Foolishness, foolishness, foolishness. Wisdom does not start. So, but this other pastor talked to the bishop. Then the bishop and the pastor, they just told me, sit there somewhere in the church compound. And then they drove off. They went to the home of this pastor, whose wife was a clinical officer. And then they went, picked her. When they came back, very fast, the bishop did not talk to me. He just pointed the side to the car where I needed to go and sit. I got in, I found this lady in, and then we were driven to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, when we got to Kiambu town, lower Kiambu town, we saw my husband. So when he saw him, he stopped the car and then pointed the side where I was seated and told him to come and sit there. So we got in. He drove very fast to Nazareth Hospital. We went there, and then this time now, when I got to the hospital, the vehicle was taken to the door of the labor ward. And that is where his children had been born. So he was familiar with the facility, with the hospital. So at the door, then I was taken in. I was examined. Again, my baby has meconium stain. And then, because of the transverse. So I told them, when they said about going to theatre, I told them, bring that consent form. I signed it. And then they were asking me, when did you break the waters? 11. And this is about 2 now. Foolish me. Foolish me. Please don't do this. Then I was examined. I said I want to sign that thing. And I told them, this time I don't want the half. I want to sleep. Kabisa. I want GA. I wanted to sleep kabisa. And that is what happened. I was taken in and my baby was born. 2.9. A beautiful baby girl. Beautiful baby girl. So I came home. I came back to the ward again. Now this time, I'm not asking my husband whether he loves me or not, because I've learned that there is no, this is another way of getting a baby. So I never labored. I never had labor pains, the first one and even the second one, because the second one, you see, it's the water that broke and I never felt any pain. So even today I tell people, I don't know what labor is. I hear people are rubbed at the back because of the labor, because of the pain. But for me, it was a smooth sail. So then I was brought back home after I think 7 days or so. Then I started now bringing up my baby at home. And remember, I said no breastfeeding when I'm sleeping. I'm lying down. I have to sit up. And I was fed, my husband and my sister wakanipikia vizuri mpaka nikaongeza weight, nikakuwa mzuri. So my baby started gaining weight. Then remember, we had these other 2 girls. They have also gotten children. One got 3, the other one got 2. A boy and a girl, and this other one got 2 girls and 1 boy. So we continued interacting and sharing. Then one day we said we wanted to have a meeting, just to go to one of us place and share our journeys and enjoy, and now kind of connect our husbands together. That time we had gotten another friend who was schooling in Kenyatta University. So she had come from here. That lady had come from the same place with one of these 2 girls, two ladies that time, 2 girls that time. So this day when we were in one of our friends' home, all of us now, the 3 and myself and our husbands, we were there. We started now narrating our journey, how we got the husbands and how we now did not labor, that none of us, the three of us, now the additional was different, how she labored, but the three of us that prayed never labored. And the three of us were CSs. We went through the CSs. So that tells us God will keep his side of the bargain. No labor pain. We said no labor pain. But did we say no CS? We didn't. So that was God's way of giving us these babies. All of us, all of them now are in their late 20s, some going to 30s. And there we are with our babies, and they are adults now. All of them are through university. All of them are working, and we are all happy. But what I wanted to share here is, whichever way that God chooses to bless you, he will bless you. He will give you that baby. Mine, the outcomes were good. They were positive. My children are healthy, were healthy from the word go. They moved on their milestones, the same, the right way, the weighing, the kilos that are supposed to be added, they were adding the right way. They are healthy. They are physically healthy. They are physically fit. But if anything happened to them, do you think I would have forgiven myself? Especially the first one. And the first one had more complications than just that. The first one had that, you're bleeding, you're spotting. Then she got distressed. Then when she was born, I was told she had cord round the neck. She was the breech presentation that is coming with her feet. And I had a low-lying placenta. That is what was making me to spot and to bleed. So with all those, the low-lying placenta, the distress, the cord round the neck, the what, I mean, all those things that I've mentioned, they were actually a threat to my baby's survival. I would either have died, or the baby, or both of us, because of the complication, and again, because of the stubbornness. And I really call myself that time stubborn. So the second one, I said, I'm wiser. I don't want anything to happen to me or either to my baby. So that is why I thought, why don't we, as mothers, as families, that is fathers, mothers, share our journeys so that we can also help other people who are probably doing their first baby, they're having their first baby. They can learn from our mistakes and not repeat what we said. So that if the doctor tells you, this is the condition of your baby, this is the condition of your health, probably there are some that have high blood pressure, others probably has other conditions like the gestational diabetes. I don't know whether it contributes to cesarean, but whatever that you are told to do by the doctor, do it, because they are doing it for you. They are doing it for your welfare. And that's why I said, let me start this. Let's share with as many as we can. I'll do a series of all this so that we can be able to be at a better place, at a better point, so that the traumas that come around there, we can be able to avoid them as much as we can, so that we have better outcomes. Do you know somebody who have struggled with the delivery, or in the pregnancy, before the delivery, or after the delivery? I'm sure I'll get many people, and you'll be one of them. Get in touch with us, and we'll be able to invite you, come and we share. As I said earlier, we'll also invite fathers. Fathers, most of the time we forget them. They go through emotional turmoils. They struggle with us as mothers. But sometimes we ignore the part of their struggle. I would like to talk to you, father, who is there, or an expectant father in the family, that you are waiting, both of you, to get a baby. That's why I'm calling you an expectant father. I'm not sure you can't carry the baby. But I'm calling out on you. If you'd like me to host you, you can come you can just text us the number that is going to scroll on this on below here on the screen, and I believe that it will be helping another family. So I am calling out on fathers that may be there, and like, because as I've said, we ignore, many of us ignore you, but I want to be different. I want you to come and share your journey. There may be happy moments, there may be sad moments, but we would like you to come and share with us, because from that somebody else is going to be blessed, somebody else is going to learn something. And as this journey goes on, we keep on moving to new technology and to new things. And so when you're advised as a mother, as a family, to do this, accept what the doctor says. I can keep repeating that because mine was almost going south because of me being foolish and stubborn. And I wouldn't want somebody to be like that. So the professionals that will come here, they are going to help us on how to be better and how to prevent some of the things. I'm sure there's some, probably they will share about some of the diseases that may come during delivery, but since I'm not a professional on that side, mine is to encourage you to share. Because for me, as we all know, I am a counseling psychologist, and for me, mental health is key, is very, very important. And most of the things that happens during delivery, some of them are very traumatic, and we need to seek help, we need therapy. And all that we can also share with us. You can share in our comment section on YouTube. Share with us your experience, share with us, how your delivery was, and I'm sure it will help it, and you reach out to so many other people. As I come to close this, I would want to say that this journey needs a lot of patience, but it is doable, it is possible. And I would say, let us journey together. The other people that will come in here, I'm believing that you will be one of them, will be able to share their different. And by the way, every baby, every delivery is totally different. The environments may be the same, the health facility may be the same, but their delivery is totally different, and the experience. So if you have one baby, don't shy away from coming and sharing. If you have 5 babies, if you have 6 babies, come, don't fear to share, because you are touching somebody. So all those who will be willing to share and help somebody else, encourage somebody else, you're welcome. And until next time, when I bring a mother, when I bring a family, when I bring a father, here I bring a professional. See you next time. Stay Health Now Show, your health friend.